Hey, welcome everyone, and FRANX Live here. And today, if you're listening, if you have some time, send us your websites, participate in the comments. This episode, it's all about transformative franchise sales websites, converting deals, and improving your website to grow your franchise system. We are without our friend Nick, Brent. And aside from my horrible introduction, for everyone out there, if you're participating in this live stream, send in your comments. No one is a bigger expert than Brent in terms of evaluating franchise sales websites, evaluating headlines, getting leads to make contacts with you, and hopefully, converting deals. And if you like, in the comments, give us your website and we'll throw that out there. So Brent, what's the state of franchise sales websites?
Hey, great introduction, by the way. Way better than what Nick does. So he's fired. You're in. That was nice. I think the state of franchise websites is, I think they're getting good. I think brands are starting to put out some really solid and effective sites. I think for a long time, we noticed that we were certainly lacking as an industry in terms of best practices for website conversion, but I think we're catching up. And I think ultimately, we're seeing some really good things. Obviously, we spend a lot of time in websites. It's a big part of our strategy is using organic and digital marketing channels as a vehicle to get them to the site. And so we spend a lot of time building sites, fixing sites, learning from sites, and we see some pretty good ones out there right now. What about you?
So, Melissa, on my team, we were having a conversation this morning about trends in franchising. And, one of the themes or discussions we were having is we feel like brands are getting to a stage where they can take more control over their development process, development strategy, and really not be dependent on any one source. But so time and again, for me, it all comes back to the website as that hub. Because if you're planning your brand positioning the right way, your brand story, it's all going to be represented on the website and really becomes, to me, that center point for the franchise sales process. And so I think it's becoming more and more important. I think there's too many brands lagging behind. But Brent, I have, we did a sort of a guide to wireframing a website. Melissa on my team prepared it. And if we share it, maybe we could do a walkthrough and get your thoughts on it. And then, I know Kirk is on, we'll pull up, Gene is on, we're gonna pull up some websites. So we'll test out our wireframe or what we recommend as best practices, get your real world experience, and then we'll throw some websites up here.
Yeah, I love it. I haven't seen it, so I'd love to.
Yeah, so when we're working with our clients, we're looking for the basics, right? The blocking and tackling and what are we hitting. So if I did a quick overview, one of the guides we share with our clients is, look, number one, we're focused on a transformative headline on the website, right? As opposed to the traditional franchise with us headline. And then going into SEO with your H1, clarity about what the brand is, brand positioning, right? Especially if you're pulling from, are we income replacement, supplemental income, that stuff. And then just generally going through this, 3 uniques, right? Which should not, in my opinion, be the traditional training, support, and something else, right? And then founder story. And then ultimately, deeper dive beyond the 3 uniques, more of the how we do it, how we help you succeed type, differentiators. And then process in terms of how to inquire and become a franchisee. But Brent, you do this every day. Like, what are some strengths and weaknesses here?
I think the bones are really strong. I think it allows a user to go section to section. That layout of that particular type of content in that order, I think, is the right hierarchy. What you want is you do want someone to read it all, right? You want a lead that's educated. And so the way that you've set this up, I think, is solid. I like the bones a lot. The key comes down to the effectiveness of the messaging, right? So you've got the bones here, and you've got the content here, but how do you be effective with the messaging? And I think, we see brands misstep in a couple places. First, they make their messaging on their sites all about them. We won this award. We are the best. And I think you've got to make it about the user. You have to truly understand what's unique about your buyer and who you're talking to, and you have to talk to them. You have to involve them in the story as you take them top to bottom of that site. So that's the first thing, is make it about the user and understand who your user is, who your dream buyer is. I think the second thing is in terms of just messaging, right? Because again, I wouldn't change much of that bones at all. I would just focus on the messaging. The second thing would be that headline. I think, we're so busy, and it's so easy to lose someone when they're shopping or when they're looking at something, that unless you've got an attention-grabbing headline, unless you've got a big promise that you can deliver on, unless you're truly talking to them and have something of substance to say, it's hard to then get them involved for the rest of the journey on the site, or even to scroll down from there. So that's where that first battle is won, right? Is what's your big promise? What's your big differentiator? How are you talking to the unique buyer? What problems do you know that they have, your type of franchise buyer, that your brand solves? And so there's complexity in that messaging. There's a lot of opportunity to get it right, and there's a lot of opportunity to get it wrong. But again, I think the big thing in that headline is it attention grabbing? Do you have a big promise that you can deliver on for them? Do you understand their problem, and how do you solve it? And you got to tell that story pretty quick with that messaging in those first couple sections.
Yeah, Brent, I think that's like the biggest deficiency is not following that advice, right? So when I look at these, so many websites, the developer or team punted when you just see franchise with us, right? As the headline. What I like that you guys do when I look at Raintree brands and many of our clients, is your time you're connecting the opportunity. So if you're focusing your sales process on income replacement, legacy building, here's our investment and here's our ROI, then I'm seeing in your websites, you're focused on that financial element right in your headline and above the fold in terms of the copy you're including there.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's key to you made a great point. That call to action, whatever you want them to do, whether it's fill out your form, call them, fill out a quiz, that's got to be above the fold. We found that, it's a little different. A lot of the brands that we've developed, a big part of the traffic comes from Meta, Instagram. And so there's a lot of folks that you're kind of not looking for a franchise at the time, but you just pique their interest. And we found that 85% of folks never scroll down, right, in those types of channels. So if you've only got a section or two to get them. And so that CTA has to be above the fold, and it has to be really clear. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. Yeah, that call to action, right? And then, so your call to action, I think best practice is that call to action should be at the top navigation on the right side in the mast headline, and whether it's contacting. What do you find is the most effective call to action, right? In terms of, is it learning more, requesting more information? What should be that call to action on that franchise sales page?
It depends. Now I'm going to get a little complicated, but it depends where the lead is in the journey, right? So we have 3 types of journeys that we offer and 3 types of websites. There's not just one. We have top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel. And our top of funnel leads, again, they're those leads that are just scrolling through social media and think, oh, franchise, maybe that's for me. Those folks, they're a different call to action. We use what we call a high content value offer. It's 10 reasons that franchising is great, or it's just pure value, right? Why owning a dog training franchise is going to be great in 2024, and terrible examples, but that's the first CTA, right? Is we just give them value. And in the end of that CTA, when they download it, then they have the opportunity to schedule a call, any of the other, fill out a quiz, send us an email. There's a whole bunch of things, but first and primary is top of funnel, just provide the value. Once they do read that and go into the next funnel, that's the middle of funnel. And these are also leads that are like Google PPC leads or portal leads, folks that are actively buying a franchise or looking for a franchise, not just scrolling and we interrupt them. That's a middle of funnel. And so we have a CTA we found works best is a quiz. We'll have them understand if they fit the brand or the brands in our instance. And that's just the best way to quickly get information from them. And all they have to do is click the buttons, click the options. This is how much money I have. This is the territory. These are the skills I have. This is my goals, etc. So middle of funnel is quiz. And then finally, we have bottom of funnel. And they're folks that we know have either been retargeted, they've come to the site before and we've got them on a retargeting ad, push them back into a new site this time because they didn't, we know they were either on top of funnel or middle of funnel. They didn't convert there. They see an ad, we push them to bottom of funnel, and that one's book a call. That's the only option they have there. That's Calendly or book a call. So it depends, a very complicated answer, and I hope I didn't confuse folks, but it depends where you're advertising. And if you really want to do best practices, you've got to have 3 different funnels.
You know, and I think, Brent, and for everyone on the live stream, and I appreciate everyone, we're going to get to the websites that you guys have posted, and we're going to share that in a few seconds here. So, and if you haven't, chat, add your website, and we're going to have this up here for Brent's analysis and commentary. I think a good takeaway from your advice, Brent, is especially for the emerging franchise brands, don't try to do too much with your call to action on your website. Do not make it about selling that franchise because that's way too quick, right? It's like, hey, we just met, let's, get married, right? It's more of let's get this information about our business and why this could help transform your life. And I love your headline on like, hey, why owning an X type business in 2024 could be amazing. Like, because then there's no commitment and someone could really absorb that information.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Brent, I'll pull up, let's go through some websites. Let's just go in order here, Melissa. Okay, so this is our friend Kirk who's on, and Kirk, appreciate it. Mini Athletics here. Let's just scroll through a little just so Brent gets an overview here. Go down some more. Okay. If you scroll back to the top. What do you think, Brent?
So overall, solid website for sure. I think is the call to action up the top there, book a call and download brochure, is that just cut off because of the way we're presenting it?
That's how
that's how it's set up.
Yeah, I think that hero section could probably use more of a deliberate and overt call to action. Maybe under the headline there, you should have a button as well, because I think that could be missed. But when we talk about messaging, the messaging in a number of places speaks to the buyer. They involve the audience. So the messaging is pretty good there. I think maybe we could be a little more overt with whatever they're promising, whatever this franchise offers that is their unique selling proposition. But great visuals, really, really strong visuals, good messaging, maybe just a little more CTA to start us, and we'd be in a really good place.
So, Brent, if on the headline, if I were, and Kirk's a great guy and an amazing franchise. So if I were going to be like, if I'm trying to be super critical, right? I think your point about the call to action, I love the way Nick on their websites, they'll have the form to fill out sort of embedded into the page where it's really easy. If I'm looking at these headlines, I don't know what Mini Athletics is right now. I know, like, right, because, and then I use as a test for our own media, if what we're saying, could a competitor use it, and it makes sense, right? Gain better work-life balance, do something you're passionate about, that applies to so many businesses. I don't know what a Mini Athletics business is. So are we positioned as a mobile, home-based supplemental income business? Is Mini Athletics a mobile business that provides X, and what's my transformation? Am I replacing income? So that would be my criticism there. The other thing too is I don't know if, and this you would know better, Brent, I don't know if I'd have a button about book a meeting. I think I would first want them to contact and learn sort of your headline, your like learn why a home-based children's enrichment business is the right business decision for 2024, whatever it is. And then after they get that media, to then start pulling in the conversation.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely fair. Does the section below go into the business model at all?
Well,
I think it needs to more overtly explain the model, right?
yeah, right. I think, right, Brent. So I mean, it's for all of our businesses, we get blinded to the lack of clarity, right? So I think it's, if a broker goes to this website, whatever the transformative headline is, there needs to be a one-liner. Mini athletics is a blank, whether home base, whatever, children's enrichment, whatever, and then really, so I think we need clarity on what the opportunity is, right?
Yeah, it's a common thing, right? We know our businesses so well, but do people get it? And you have to be careful there. Same with franchising in general too, right? Like the wireframe you showed as we scrolled down eventually got to kind of the bones of franchising, what you actually get out of it, support,
Right.
and these things. And I think it's important, certainly if you're advertising on places like Meta, where folks may not have an inherent understanding of the value of the franchise model. That's got to be there too. You've got to explain your model, and then usually you've got to explain the benefits of franchising and how you empower that.
And Kirk is a charismatic guy too. If go back to the main website, Melissa, I think if in the headline there's a transformative headline, right? Whether it's the work-life balance headline or supplement your income and build your whatever, it'd be great to see a video of Kirk talking about what mini athletics is and how it's changed his life and others in a little video there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know they've got, good job in the rest of the site. It looked like there was at least a few videos there. And we know that.
Yeah, there's a lot of thought in it. Yep.
Yeah. And I agree, getting one up, maybe even in that hero section there too would be a good idea.
Yeah, and I think too, it'd be great to show more of the unit economics of the franchise investment if we're focused on uniques, right? So maybe one of the uniques is low startup cost home-based business, 2, whatever territory type structures, 3, recurring revenue, or, diving into the thought process of what the economics of this are going to look like. And then later on, what it's like to operate the business.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Correct.
Yeah, I think great site.
You know what? It is. Kirk, you have like amazing assets here. Amazing that so many brands don't have. I think I would look to simplify and streamline it, right? And complete precision. A broker gets to your website, they know what mini athletics is, they know what category it falls in, they know who you are, and then from there it just gets better, but just more clarity. Okay, let's pull up the Kirk, thank you. And everyone listening, feel free, just so this is our friend Jean at Vanity Fair. So let's see here. We'll do a quick scroll through, Brent. Uh-oh, I really like this website. No, I'm joking. What do you think, Brent?
Another solid site, right? I think there's a lot of visuals. Buying a franchise is an emotional decision, and the best way to tap into that is through visuals. So there's a lot of video, a lot of GIF, a lot of photo. Love that. I think this first section is strong. I think the CTA, it'd be interesting to see the CTA performance on information, right? Cute, pun, I like it. But it'd be interesting to see how that performs. And what we like to do is we at least try and have an ABCD test for any new brand or any new site. So we'll trial headlines, and then we'll trial CTAs too. And I think that would be a good one to test out against something more deliberate, as opposed to the pun. But ultimately, I love the video B-roll backgrounds. That really it paints the picture of what the business is. You can clearly see it's mobile grooming. Ultimately, yeah, pretty good. What do you think of this first section?
Yeah, I love learning from you, Brent, like from an analytical standpoint. That I think one of the smartest things, first thing you're mentioning is A/B testing, right? Which is something like that a smart team does, and like many times beyond my comprehension, or I'm maybe lazy, but I agree. I don't know much about the headline. I feel like the masked area is taking up a lot of space with not a ton of value. I mean, I like the background image, which is great. I'm going to give advice I give myself, because everything Gene and Kirk, everything you guys are doing on the website, literally I've done, and I've had coaches and consultants tell us, like, so to me, to embark on your entrepreneurial path with one mobile and then grow exponentially, right? I mean, I feel like there could be more clarity there. I would take up less space in the masked area. I'd have a built-in contact form about learning more. But I think it's good, right? I think it's good. I mean, again, if I'm going to be biased, I really just want a nice static image and a nice video from the founders, just giving real clarity of, hey, Vanity Fur is blank. It's transformed my life through blank. We have a great model, learn more, explore, and whatever, and build that connection. And so when brokers come to it, candidates come to it, they're going to connect with Gene. And I feel like we're maximizing our space.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, again, it's good messaging. Like there's that deliberate, here's the business model, which you like to see there, Charles, for mobile pet salons. Obviously, that helps with SEO optimizations too. I think, again, biased, and if I had to be critical of a really good site, I would say that probably a little heavy on the puns and be a little bolder. What are you actually promising? What makes this franchise something that's truly going to change someone's life? And how do you do that? And how do then you transform or translate that into a really strong, bold headline, right?
And Brent, copying, as I observe, what you do, I would challenge Gene, what is that transformation you're offering the franchisee, right? And again, it depends on the business, right? Kirk's, a lower startup cost, mission-driven business, really, versus here, this is more supplemental income producing, right? And ROI focused. That should be somehow integrated into the transformative headline.
100%. I'd imagine that this is for someone who loves pets, loves dogs. This is for someone that's not entirely excited about a 500, 750,000, or even $1 million build out, right? Like a wash. So this is a way to have a great ROI in a passion play. And that's how you're transforming someone's lives. And I think you have to be deliberate and spell that out in a few short words.
I think that's exactly the exact right advice.
Be careful of, and Charles, you pull me up, and luckily we have Charles review anything new that we do. But there is a thing called puffery. So while we do kind of advocate, be bold, make a promise, as long as you deliver on that promise and your franchisees validate that you deliver on that promise, be bold, but don't make earnings claims. There's a thing called franchise puffery, which Charles gets us to avoid at all costs. So you have to walk the fine line of messaging that's bold, but it's true and that it's lawful.
So this next section here, Brent, my input would be there's too much copy. I would just focus on simple 3 differentiators.
Yeah, we're losing our attention spans by the day as a species, and bullet points are the way to go. Great visual, great photography though, great looking bright lens.
This is my favorite part of the website. She's on our YouTube channel. No, and by the way, she's amazing, right? As a human, and as an entrepreneur. So I think this could be helpful.
But look, like you get it, right? Look at that headline that your team used on that.
You would go back up, yeah.
That's a strong, attention-grabbing but truthful headline. How Vanity Fair founder took a life-changing leap of faith. Yeah, I want to know more about that.
Brent, that's a great observation there. And I guess, and again, this is all learning, right? Because once you see the thought process, it unlocks, how do you think about your franchise opportunity? Let's hit one more section here. The why. I don't want Gene to come hunt me down, but this is, to me, is all, and Gene's a genuine person. That's why I'm saying this. This comes off as generic to me.
Yeah. I think, no, I was just going to say, I think this is such a visual, emotional brand. You're passionate about pets. I don't know. I think there's a great opportunity to have more video there or an actual great shot rather than the cartoon.
Right, and also, Brent, I think too, there's a point of diminishing returns. Like, let's remember why we're here. We're not, this franchise sales website on this interaction, the goal is not to sell the franchise, it's to have them reach out to you, right? So maybe there should be a headline and another contact form, and let's have that conversation, right? Of what it looks and feels like to, own a vanity fair in your market.
Right.
Okay.
Good core values.
Gene works hard at this stuff. She's doing a good job. So I think less could be more, really consolidate. I think this would be a great planning session to really hone in. What are our three uniques? How are we transforming lives? What are the differentiators? What does a day in the life look like, and how do we help them succeed? I think they have all that, but it takes time to uncover it.
Yeah. And I mean, look, there's great meat here. There's great content. How do you just optimize it is the goal for this one, right? To your point, how do you tell the story efficiently, but still provide them with enough information to understand everything they need to know?
Well, let's put Gene. Gene works hard. It looks good. I'm being a little difficult today. This is for, I guess, a broker, which is great. Anna, select franchises. Why do I need a franchise advisor? This is interesting, Anna, and thanks for sharing this. And, as we're going through Anna's website here for Kirk and Gene and all the franchisors here, I think it's important to take notice too that you need to understand or rethink how you think about franchise brokers, in the sense that they're entrepreneurs too. They're investing in building out and working with candidates and their websites. And so, you hitting the mark in best practices is something that brokers will appreciate. If we go back to that headline, what do you think, Brent?
I think it's pretty good. I think it's tricky to do a site for a franchise consultant. Not as easy as doing a brand, right? And I think there's some good things here. There's a little bit of validation. What we'll find is buyer skepticism increases every day. Everyone's so cynical and scared and fraud and rip off, and so certainly in this space, because we're in this space too, right? We act at Raintree and Fastlane as a consultant when we generate our own leads. And the one thing that we do from word go is just try and ensure that the viewer, user, or lead understands that we're the real deal, that we're not a scam, that we've been doing this for a long time, that we have their best interests, that we're validated by the industry. And so there's a number of ways to do that. And there's a couple of testimonials here, but that would be the first thing that I'd really want to focus on as a consultant is, are you the real deal, and how do I know that you're the real deal? What awards have you won? What testimonials have you got? They've got to be littered on a site like this. I also think, the free consultation's a good CTA. Again, I would have it may seem redundant, but right under the headline there with another one. Maybe it's book a call, maybe it's fill out, download information, whatever it is, whatever your CTA is, but that should be there in the hero section too. Why do I need a franchise advisor? What do you think of that copy, Charles?
Well, I mean, I think it's a good topic. For me, it wouldn't be the transformative headline at the top of the website, right? So for me, I would be focused on the transformation and the positive, which would be Select Franchises is a blank broker franchise advisory service. We help you identify your franchise, your business growth goals and match you with the right franchise. I mean, that's not good what I just said, but I would look for the clarity there. Deeper down, I would address the philosophical question of why do I need an advisor? But quite frankly, I want my next section to have the 3 benefits, right? Free consultation, expert guidance, and insight into franchise opportunities, helping you understand whatever those 3 steps, because then it's not even presenting the question. I'm inherently understanding why I need an advisor.
Yes, yeah, I agree. I agree. And again, ultimately, look, this is one of the better ones that I've seen. I think, again, it's really hard to do the franchise consultant side. And there's actually good content here. Look, you get straight into testimonials, which is great. There's the download there. That's great.
Yeah,
no, the high content value offer. Some of the copy could be a little bolder for sure. Got some video. There's some good bones here to work with. Absolutely.
This copy here is really good too, right? With over 4,000 unique, it's easy to get overwhelmed. So and that could be a good headline too, right? Which don't get overwhelmed when looking for the right franchise investment, right? Yeah. But so I think this is great copy here. So I think Anna's done a great job. Nick Powell's commented, Brent, how do you feel about this? This show is so much better without Nick. I think we both agree. Yes.
I'm really enjoying it today.
Me too. Yes, Kim. Melissa, could we, credit here. I like the website. I maybe just move around some of the pieces, but there's a lot of good thought went into this.
And let me see if I can share this screen just to show you, because we've done a lot of testing here and we do something very similar. So this is, remember I said we had 3 funnels, right? Top of funnel, bottom of the funnel. But this is effectively us acting like a consultant too. And you'll see that, yes, all we're doing right now is providing value. That's our CTA. But immediately the team here, what they're trying to do is build that trust and that credibility. Check out our Google reviews, check out Trustpilot. We've been in press. Believe it or not, these long intro letters converted a lot better than not. And I was so surprised to see that. But you'll see as they take them through the site, the marketing team here, it's all about validation. To your point, Charles, just 5 quick dot points. More validation in our awards, more validation in a video, more validation in written testimonials. It's all about building trust. And so I couldn't underestimate how important that is for this consultant style website. You've got to prove that you're the real deal. And you've got to do that by being truthful with real reviews.
Well, I think there's a lot of integrity on your example, because from looking at it, I can see Brent's goal is, look, if we're going to attract people to this website, we want them to make that first contact. They don't need to hire us and then download that guide or download that information. I think that's a great example.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a great point too, right? The download. Why the download? Well, you have to prove that you're out to help. We don't want anything yet. We don't want your name, your number. We just want to give you some information to make sure that you're looking at real brands and you're avoiding brands that maybe you shouldn't work with, and building trust, right? So that's why that starts there. It's important to get that CTA right. And again, that franchise consultant space is tricky. It's very tricky, and a great site, really good bones.
Well, and think about it. I'm surfing at night. I come onto the franchise consultant's website, Anna's website, there's validation. I want to make contact. I'm hesitant. But now all of a sudden, if there's a download of like four building blocks of a great franchise investment or something like yours, I'm like, it's 10 o'clock. I'm going to download it. I'm going to start, and then drip campaign starts. I think those are good examples. Melissa, what do we have next? By the way, Nick is going to make fun of me for having Melissa here, and because I cannot navigate the live stream and pull up documents. So for everyone out there, I can't even do that. All right, Just Love Coffee. This is looking great. Let's just scroll through a little for Brent here, Melissa, and then. Go back to the top. What do you think, Brent?
Once again, good bones. And once again, I'm starting to be a little redundant now, but I think the messaging could be a little bolder. A coffee franchise opportunity. Now, that's great for SEO. But does that really grab your attention? I'm not so sure. So I think that you could work that coffee franchise opportunity into the sub copy and come up with an attention grabbing headline. What your big promise is, what you deliver on to help people own this business and why they want to do it. The lead form there is good. It's a lot to put in a hero section, that many questions, but it's better than not having anything for sure. What do you think, Charles?
Well, yeah. So if I like the contact form, I would just keep it simple, right? I think that's great. Melissa, if you could just go back to the top a little. I think on the headline, you bring up an interesting point because coffee franchise opportunity. Before I criticize the headline, I think this is a great site, and I'd question your point, which is maybe they use the term coffee franchise opportunity for SEO, right? Which I think is smart, and I'd be pulled into that in 2 seconds. But if it wasn't an SEO, I'd be focused on build your coffee empire, and then I'd go into, my one-liner where they're saying high quality special organic coffee, I would change that more toward the investment transformation, right? Which is build a whatever coffee, what I mean? So I would focus more from the perspective of the investor. But I think this is great out of the gate.
And the SEO point you raise is good, right? Like we've seen, mate, over the years, SEO experts and designers just go at it because they have different goals. Your SEO team are looking to get people to the site, right? That's their job. And they do that with those headlines that are keyword headlines. And that's what they want. Your designers and your folks want people to convert when they get there. And so there has to be balance between the interests of both. You got to get them there and make sure those keywords are in there, but not at the expense of a headline that doesn't grab someone's attention and want to fill out that form and learn a little more.
Yeah. And because I would fall into the SEO side, I always get trapped in. But like, again, the high quality specialty, like I would focus on the opportunity. Is this ROI? Is this multi-unit? What are numbers? Let's go to the next section on here and see where, because this is a really nice website. What's your thoughts here?
I like that there's a video. Video is so key. Again, I think the copy could be improved a little bit. Specialty coffee with a unique menu and giving culture. I think that's good. Is it truly telling the story of what makes this brand different? Is there an opportunity maybe here to understand who their buyer is, what their pain points are, and why owning a Just Love Coffee helps solve those pain points? I don't know if specialty coffee, if I'm looking to get into one of these because maybe I hate my job or I'm looking for legacy or better earning potential, we're not addressing that with any of the copy here. So we have to address that. And I think there's an opportunity to tweak that copy a little bit, but great video placement right under the fold there. That's good.
So I agree with that analysis, Brent, right? So Nick's point about putting yourself in the shoes of a franchisee. So now I'm looking to make an investment. I'm looking in a category where, I'm going to be involved in retail, restaurant retail. This will be specialty coffee. My questions and concerns are not specialty coffee, unique menu, although down the line, I think they're telling a story about a waffle iron, which may have to do with ROI or labor cost or food cost. But so I want to know why. I'm going to approach this more from an investor standpoint, whether it's coffee or whether it's sandwiches. I want to know what are those driving factors in terms of an investment model. So if we have an item 19, I'd be throwing those item 19 numbers up there, right? And if there's deeper dive where we're showing higher ROI, higher gross profit, I'd be showing some of those deeper dives. So one of my uniques would be the item 19 numbers in a thoughtful way. Second would be, I care about operations. I get it's specialty coffee. I want to know if there's streamlined operations and how I'm doing it. And three would be the culture, mission, founder, the social benefit.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you've got a great item 19, it should be up in the hero, up in the headline.
Yeah.
That's really, what you've got. You've got to tout that, right? You've got to show that off. So
Then this is mission, right? And greater good.
More videos, great. Love
Yeah,
that.
and I think that they mentioned Whole Foods, right? So there's a lot of validation there. I'd even create a sub headline about why Whole Foods serves our coffee, right? And maybe be telling a story about how our brand's recognized in Whole Foods, as sort of added validation to the system.
True. That's totally a unique selling point, right? I'm sure not every franchise has that in their arsenal.
So what do you think here, Brim?
Again, I like the dot points that's catered for someone to scan through and quickly try and understand if the content's relevant to them. So I like that. I would ask my attorney, should there be asterisks on the average ticket price and a reference to where they pulled that from? May want to look at that.
Oh, yeah, there should absolutely be.
Mm-hmm. But ultimately, I think the content's fine. And again, it could be bolder. We could be speaking to problems we've solved. And when this one's more focused on the actual model itself, I think it's okay, right? We're talking about a small kitchen, no ovens or hoods. This is all attractive and information that we need to know. So ultimately, good stuff.
And I think from a mindset standpoint, Brent, I would change the focal point, right? Nick's point earlier too, which is if I'm looking at this not from a consumer standpoint, but a franchise investor, our menu's built around waffle irons, I sort of don't care. So maybe our menu's built around higher ROI, right? Check legal issues there, but and I'd focus from the investor standpoint.
Absolutely, yeah. Love that CTA there. If you saw the little hint I gave at the Raintree site, our team adds a CTA in every single section. It gives them the opportunity, if they've stopped on a section, absorbed it, triggered them to want to do something, it's so easy for them. That button is right there. So that's a good job. Maybe you could do more.
Hey, Kimsley. Hey, Kim, thank you for spending time. So we'll go to the last section and
there's the disclaimers. You'd be happy to see those.
no item 19 data, right? You didn't see it.
No, there was a dot point. Projected sales 4 and 8.
Gross sales.
Make sure that's your world. You can comment on that range that they're.
Well, that's interesting, right? So refer to our FDD item 19 for specifics on revenue projections. So for franchisors out there, I'd say, and better than anyone, Brent, I'd say probably 95% of FDDs are item 19s are based on historical financial data. Here, the team at Just Love, they've which is permissible. They've decided, hey, we're confident, I assume, and we're going to actually give projections as to potential earnings. Have you seen many projections in FTD's, Brent?
I haven't. No, that one's interesting for sure.
Yeah, so that'd be definitely an advanced tactic for sure. But overall, I think this looks like a great website.
Yeah, the content's there. Again, the bones is good. Support territories, that's all good stuff. I probably want to see, just in terms of visuals, again, this is an emotional decision. Perhaps some more shots of the actual stores themselves. We call them a proud owner shot. We love to see happy franchise owners standing in front of stores. What that does is it creates tangibility to this buying process. It helps them truly start to understand that's what I get and look at that happy owner and proud owner of that business. I want that too, right? And so I think that would be one thing I'd like to see a little bit more from a visual standpoint. But again, great bones to this site.
Yeah, I agree with that. Do we have any other websites to share? Okay.
Very clean.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Brent?
I like it. I think it's very clean. Again, it's great bones once again, and another opportunity to perhaps improve the copy a little bit. We see this as pretty standard, stock standard language and copy that's used by franchisors. Own your piece of the X billion-dollar industry. If somebody's looking at multiple brands and they see that multiple times, they'll start to tune out, right? So, how do you be bold? How do you tell the why of your brand? What pain points are you solving? But what I will say in the copy and the messaging is they are involving the user. There's a lot of yours in there, which I like to see.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the headline could be bolder. Learn more. I think we've seen in testing that's not there's better converting CTAs. Be more deliberate. What do they actually get? How are they learning when they click that button? If there's a little bit of doubt there, perhaps you'll lose folks that won't click because they don't know what they're getting themselves into. So you have to tell them what they're getting into, how they're going to learn. Is it a download? Is it a call? Is it a number of things it could be?
I'm a fan of this website. I agree with your comment about the headline. I like it. I like the local media empire. I agree with you. I'm not a fan of the $60 billion industry, and I'm not even a fan of franchising with. I sort of like own a blank. Now, one criticism I'd have is like I don't know what Wed Society is, but they did a great job of. I think they describe it in the next section, which I think was smart. Yeah, which I really like this. I think so.
Home-based wedding media franchise, bang. So now we know what we're talking about. Now we can kind of learn a little more.
Right. I think though, I think the win here is this is smart, right? What is Wed Society? I think this could be clearer because if I'm a franchise buyer, I don't know what it is still. I like home-based, all right, that's critical. I don't know if I want to join as family of home-based. I want to know what a Wed Society franchise business is, right? It's a home-based business blank, right? I think you could do a little more clarity, but I'm a big fan of what's going on here. Go back up a little, Melissa. It's on the digital, social, print. No, right, yeah, right here. Our locally owned wedding media brand choose digital. So Brent, I still don't know what it is. Like, I don't know what I'm going to be doing or what I'm buying.
Yeah,
is that fair? Or are you just being the same criticism?
Yeah, no, I think that's a fair comment. I wonder if the video above really goes into it. And to that point, right, it's good that it's pretty close. We like to get our videos at least above the fold or in the fold, right? So there's a CTA to convert, or there's a video right there in case there's this level of uncertainty or unsureness, and then they can dive in. And I suspect that video would answer that.
Okay, and if that's the case, that's great, right? Because, and if the video is focused on, here's what it is, here's how it can transform your life, and here are the components, home-based, digital platform, networking. But okay, let's go down a little more, but this is a really nice website. I'd be concerned with this headline. So this is have advertising a wedding experience. So there's a $5,000 savings, and I appreciate that. My concern is if I don't have advertising or wedding industry experience, I'm going to feel like this may not be for me.
And that might be the case, right? But I think they need to spell that out.
Yeah.
Have clearly defined the ideal franchise owner has to have those two things. But yeah,
right. And if
that's not true, then you're alienating a big part of their potential audience.
Right. So, and I'd be, this is interesting too, because if you're focused on franchise buyers who are, say, individuals who are looking for supplemental income, are influencers in their community, I maybe want to be telling the story of that. Maybe you've always had a passion for digital and all these, and now you could build that career, and here's done for you services, and use your influence and connections. Right, I think that's where I would focus on it. This would scare me. I'd be worried I'm alienating people or buyers. And then we got numbers, which is this looks great. What do you think, Brent, on the numbers?
Good numbers. I was worried that I didn't see a disclaimer, but it's there under. But yeah, it's based on
one of the highest revenue rates for a home-based business in all of franchising.
It's a big, bold claim, to be sure.
Well, and then I love the website. My question is then, that's a bold claim, and if it could be supported, should it be made in the headline?
Absolutely, yeah.
Right? You
don't think that could potentially fall into a puffery?
I'm not their legal counsel, so I offer this just from a marketing perspective. I'd be very worried about that claim. Yes, right. But I'm not saying there's anything wrong. This video is all marketing. I don't know. But yeah.
Great site. Like it's very clean and it's an easy journey. To your point, probably the biggest opportunity is to spell out the model a little more.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think what they're demonstrating here is we're a home-based business, and we could fall into different categories, which go from supplemental income replacement to building that media empire. And so I think this is, a home run in terms of what they put together. I think some refining, and this is just could be a killer website.
The only thing I think it's lacking is keep going down. I don't think I've seen a lot of it. There's not a lot of validation, right? So there's not a ton of testimonials, awards, reviews. Again, in a world where everyone becomes more skeptical by the minute, if you've got them, you have to have them up there. So that would be an opportunity for this site to be a little better too.
Yeah, I agree, Brent. And I'm just thinking now, if their item 19 is broken down between, I don't know how they set up their territories and whatnot, but if you have single territory, multi-territory, part-time operators, full-time operators, if you could show some of that journey too, right, on how this could fit into your lifestyle, it's a beautiful brand though. So great job.
Beautiful site, beautiful brand for sure.
Yeah, this is like the best FRANX live episode ever in the history of FRANX, I think.
I think so, only because the company was great today.
Yes. For everyone out there, really appreciate participating and joining us today. And if we missed anyone's websites and you want to send it to us, glad to send you some feedback. Brent, any final words here as we close out the hour?
I guess, just the common things. Let's recap those really quickly. Be bold, right? Make a big promise, or understand what specific pain points your ideal franchise owner has and how this franchise solves them. So problem solution copy is always a good idea. Be bold where you can and where it's truthful. A lot of video is great. A lot of testimonial is great. We saw some really good examples in that today. But I think the other big talking points, the commonalities that we saw of how brands could improve their sites to have more people become interested and become leads. I also want to say, Nick, we did miss you, buddy. Jokes aside, we hope you had.
You can't tell them that. Yeah, I definitely think a good takeaway is really hone in on the franchisee journey. So, guys, thanks for joining us today. And Brent, thank you so much, man. It's a lot of fun.
Thanks, Charles.